Check. 1, 2, 3.
The D.
Free.
This is the D3.
Go. Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
This is the D.
Brief.
Hello and welcome to the podcast for and about Detroit artists and entertainers. I'm Seth Ressler.
I'm Becky Scarcello.
And on today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about Detroit history. Bailey Sisoy Isgoro, friend of the show, and
Yes.
a fan, I like to think.
I think so.
She runs Detroit History Club and Detroit History Tours, and so we'll talk to her about some of the big events that have happened in February in Detroit's past. Also, of course, we've got your weekend recommendations, and joining us again today, Carlos Parisi, food entrepreneur involved in so many things. Like you've got the Sandwich Talk podcast, like you've got these pop-ups that you're doing all over town, and you've got Aunt Nee's tortilla chips and salsa. You're a busy guy.
Yes.
I love food more than anything.
Hungry and busy.
More than sleep.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. 5 hours of sleep is just good enough for me because it gives you enough time to eat before and after.
Wow.
Well, we're glad you're here. All right, Becky, we've got trivia. What's going on?
Okay, Valentine's Day trivia still coming at you. Dining out's a popular thing to do with your sweetie. And so our Detroit readers, they do that poll every year, the best of Detroit.
This is Our Magazine.
Our Magazine. And, everything from best boutique to on and on. And so for best of 2019, most romantic restaurant in the city of Detroit, what do you think the readers voted? Here's your choices. Prime and Proper, Lady of the House, The Whitney, or Standby?
Run through those one more time.
Prime and Proper, Lady of the House, The Whitney, Standby.
Most romantic restaurant in the city.
As voted by readers of Our Magazine.
As voted, I feel like that's key. What's the Our Magazine demographic?
2019.
So I'm a big fan of Lady of the House. I think Chef Kate's done a great job with her food.
Mm-hmm.
I love Standby. They actually have probably my third or fourth favorite burger in the city.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of course, Bronx Bar and Nemo's. And then you also mentioned, what was the third one?
Whitney.
The Whitney. The Whitney's a
Prime and
classic.
Proper.
I think it's the Whitney because I think that's just a standby. It's just been there forever.
The Whitney's totally a classic, but I'm going to say that our Detroit's readers right now are probably saying Lady of the House.
So what we're really saying is, do I think our Detroit's readers are hip or not?
A little bit.
I'm going with the Whitney. Sorry, Our.
Both of you are incorrect.
Come on.
It's not the Whitney and it's not Lady of the House. So Standby or Prime and Proper? Most romantic 2019.
Well, you pick one, I'll pick the other. We'll split it.
And I hope Standby because I love those guys.
Then I'm saying Prime and Proper.
Seth.
Hey, look at that.
Wow. I've actually never been to Prime and Proper.
Well, you have to go because it's the most romantic. Well, it was last year. We'll see if it is
myself
this
on a
year.
date.
Maybe it's not again. Yeah, we'll see.
All right, Carlos, from time to time, we like to have one of our regular guests call in. They are always an expert. They know more than Becky and I about something, and history is not a hard thing to know more than me about. We have on the line Bailey Sisoy Isgoro. She is the founder of Detroit History Club and Detroit History Tours and a newlywed. Congratulations,
Yay.
Bailey. It's so great to hear the news.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you
Great to be
for
with
joining
you guys.
us.
I've missed you.
Yeah,
I know,
it's been a
while.
minute. So it's good to talk to you again. I hope obviously things have been going well. So
Couldn't be better. And happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Happy Halloween.
Happy 2020.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Sandwich Week.
Happy everything.
Yeah.
So look, it's February, and let's talk about something. We haven't seen a ton of snow this year, except for that one early snowstorm we had before Thanksgiving. But I know that in February back in 1965, there was a huge snowstorm. I don't know all the details. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So traditionally, February has actually been a pretty heavy snowfall month for Detroit, all the way back to the 1800s. Back in the 1860s, there are reports of snowstorms in February being over a foot of snow, which sounds like a crazy amount of snow until I tell you that the largest snowfall in Detroit history came on February 25th, 1965. 11 inches of snow fell in 2.5 hours.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
It caused 21 deaths. Many of them are attributed to heart attacks while shoveling. There were major traffic accidents on all of the expressways. And it's estimated that the snow caused $70 million in damage to not only structures and businesses, but in lost revenue. It's one of the only times in their 85-year history in Detroit that the Hudson's department store closed. They could not function through the snowstorm.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's
what do you do in a snowstorm like that? Do you just hole up and hang out? And
I think you just stay inside if you can. Yeah.
11
But
inches
if it fell
in
that
2.5 hours.
quickly in 2 hours, I mean, people had to have been out doing things and had to
There
get
are
back.
some pretty wild statistics about if you go 9 months out from major snowstorms, there's a spike in birth rates.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do.
The old style Netflix and chill.
Yeah, an old style Netflix and chill. It's snowstorm and chill. I actually looked it up. Detroit did experience about a 12% bump in birth rates 9 months after the 1965 snowstorm,
That's funny.
which sounds like a lot until I tell you the highest snowstorm we've ever had. And I don't mean to act like the groundhog saw its shadow, but it was actually in April 6th of 1886. We got 24.5 inches of snow in less than 5 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
boo.
Jeez.
Whoa.
Sick. That sounds really cool, actually. Obviously, I wouldn't like to be stuck at work at that time.
No.
But it would be really cool to be, in my
Cozy.
cozy apartment with my hot chocolate.
So let's talk about other big February events. I mean, one of the things that happened is that Jay Dilla, the legendary producer, not only was born in February, but he passed away in February as well. And this is a guy who I honestly didn't really know anything about until I came to Detroit.
Oh.
Yeah. So what do you know about Jay Dilla?
Legend.
Oh, he's a great figure in Detroit music. I think very often, and Becky can probably speak to this, when we say Detroit music, people instantly say Motown. And the conversation can really stall out there. What they don't realize is that we are the home of electronic music. A lot of the greatest rappers and hip hop artists have come out of Detroit, as well as early jazz artists, all the way to modern guys like Ted Nugent, the White Stripes. So with Jay Dilla, he was a born and raised Detroiter, not a suburbs kid, but a kid who grew up in the city itself. And he was actually born to really musical parents. His mother, Maureen, who went by Ma Dukes Yancey, was an opera singer and quite well known in her day. And his father, who unfortunately has the name Beverly Yancey, was a jazz bassist and very well acclaimed. He actually got a bit of notoriety because he was one of the slated acts for the Globetrotters basketball team halftime shows.
Sick.
Yeah.
I had no
That's
idea.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, kid you not.
Yeah.
He was so Jay Dilla was born in the 70s, and he was the oldest of 4 kids, born in 1974. His siblings were musical. It was obviously a musical house. The family lived on the east side, McDougal at Nevada. And they were a house that was big into jazz, big into classical music. And Jay Dilla was, of course, Pershing's high school graduate, somebody who was instrumental in not only the careers of well famous people like Questlove, but a musician's musician. He was part of tons of influential bands, Slum Village, A Tribe Called Quest, Busta Rhymes, all big in the Detroit scene, especially in the 90s. And unfortunately, Dilla died in 2006. He was only 32. He died out in LA, and there's still influences here. His Jay Dilla Foundation supports music arts in the Detroit schools. His uncle actually opened a business called Dilla's Delights, which is a donut place here in the city. So he's got a lot of legacy, I guess I can say.
Big shouts to Uncle Herm too. Those donuts have always been incredible. Uncle Herm started selling those at hip hop shows, And he started selling them just to the people in the neighborhood. People found out about them. He would sell them to stores and restaurants as well as Dilla's Donuts, Dilla's Delights. And then when he opened up his shop, it gave people the opportunity to actually go and check out a Dilla's Delight donut any day that they want.
Yeah. And it's donuts because his first influential, really big album was called Donuts. And there's a mural in Eastern Market depicting that. And
named after the donuts that Unc Herm used to make for him as a kid.
Exactly.
There's actually a great old photo of his uncle selling donuts basically out of the back of a hatchback at the end of a late night music set at St. Andrews. And we've all been to those concerts where you're dancing all night and you're drinking. And the idea of selling a donut at 2 a.m. is pretty much brilliant.
Exactly.
I bought them from him years ago.
I did too. Did you ever have the grape jelly filling one?
I don't remember, but yes.
Probably yes.
Yeah, understood.
Bailey, let me ask you about one other thing, because obviously it's Black History Month, and I realize that you're not Black, but you are our resident historian here on the podcast. In the course of doing all your historical research and all the things, because I know you're always looking stuff up, have there been any things that you have come across that, I don't know, maybe were eye-opening for you, or that you think people should definitely go check out this time of year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we always say African-American history is American history. It's part of the fabric that tells the story of the state, the country, the city. And Detroit is the most African-American city by population in this country. So if you're ignoring African-American history, you're really ignoring a huge part of our city's history. If I can, I want to give a big shout out to a great tour group, not mine, but Jamon Jordan over at Black Scroll Network. They do a really great year-round series of tours revolving around Detroit's African-American history. And then one of my favorite places in the city to spend some time is Elmwood Cemetery. It's one of the oldest cemeteries in Detroit, the oldest non-denominational. And it's a beautiful place to not only wander and remember the people and the stories that came before us, but especially in February with African-American History Month. This is the final resting place of some of Detroit's members of the Underground Railroad, which helped enslaved people finding their way to freedom through the Underground Railroad, and final freedom, complete freedom in Canada, travel through Michigan. This includes people like Frederick Douglass, who have their final resting places there. But also one of my favorite Detroiters, Fannie Richards, is buried there. Do you guys know about her?
Just a little bit.
I don't know anything.
So she is Detroit's first Black school teacher. And that's incredible when you hear that she was born in 1840. So she's born 20 some years before the Civil War. She's born in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And from a very early age, her parents understood that education was the silver bullet. If you can educate someone, they can go on to change their stripes and become much more successful than the generations before them. So they managed to get Fannie an education. She was brilliant. Some people actually assume she's autodidactic. She just had one of those memories where if she heard it or read it, it was going to stick. When she came up to Detroit, following a stint in Europe, her scholastic record really spoke for itself. And in 1863, she was able to open a private school for Black children. But by 1868, just 5 years later, she was so influential that she was appointed a public school teacher at the colored school number 2. That is the very school she worked tirelessly to integrate, and that today is called Richards Elementary School in her honor. She taught in the Detroit school system for 44 years, which sounds like a lot until I tell you she taught Sunday school for 58 years at Second Baptist Church here in Detroit.
Wow.
Just an absolutely remarkable woman. She lived to 81 years old, had multiple careers. At one point, she was running the Phyllis Wheatley Home for Aged Colored Ladies. It was an institution she herself organized to take care of poor, elderly African-American women who were left without pensions from their husbands who preceded them in death. And she saw that they had a respectful and comfortable kind of sunset to their life. She really was pretty darn incredible. And today she's buried in Elmwood Cemetery. People actually leave her little gifts like number 2 pencils and lined paper.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. I'm sure she touched so many lives.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that with teachers, that they didn't just teach you, they teach you and everyone else you teach?
Exactly.
Well, my
So
mom's a teacher, my
her-
sister's a teacher, my whole family's teachers.
Yeah, my
so
sister is a
yeah,
Oh, yeah. You got to
definitely.
take them to visit Fanny.
I've
I
dated
think
teachers.
That doesn't count.
I think her life is going to ripple out into Detroit for generations. She really was one of those women who you can look at as an inspiration in good times and in bad, because what she did was amazing for anyone. What she did for being African American pre-Civil War is unbelievably heroic and brave and just kind of badass.
Yeah.
Agree.
That's cool. All right. Speaking of badass, what kind of events have you got coming up, Bailey?
Oh, man, we got all sorts of cool stuff. So over at DetroitHistoryTours.com, we've got our full plethora of tours running. Some great food tours going this year. If you're interested, I can get you on a food tour, my new friend.
What's up? I'm in.
Yeah, you're talking to the right person.
Top lobsters, our basic Detroit history. We're doing it all, loving it. At DetroitHistoryClub.com, we've got a big event on February 21st. And for the first time ever, we are welcoming children. We are taking over the Ford Paquette Avenue factory for a mystery dinner. Imagine a live action game of Clue where a crime will take place and you'll have to work with your team, scouring the entire closed museum to solve the riddles, solve the crime, and help bring a criminal to justice. We are also doing an adults-only version, which is open bar and a little more risque on the 22nd, but I'm sorry to say it's already sold out.
Okay.
Well, you got a lot going on. So people can go check out the websites. It's DetroitHistoryTours.com and DetroitHistoryClub.com, correct?
Thank you so much. And if you want to check out Jamon Jordan at Black Squirrel Networks, he is BlackSquirrelNetworks.com
Awesome.
for his tours.
Well, Bailey, thanks so much for checking in. And again, congratulations on getting hitched.
Yes. Best wishes.
Thank you.
Yay. It's really nice to meet
Now we
you.
just got to avoid those snowstorms.
Yeah.
That's right. Please.
Take care. All right, let's get into our weekend recommendations. Becky, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I love events that are for that have a dual purpose, right? So this is a fundraiser, and it's also at a really cool venue that I don't think of outside of actually my boys going to hang out, Modern Skate Park in Royal Oak.
Yeah.
So they are having a fundraiser for Detroit Roller Derby, and it's a drag bingo. So
Whoa,
I think
that
it's
sounds
got
sweet.
like all these great elements. It's put on by Boylesque, Michigan. It's this Saturday. You get 3 games of bingo. There's a cash bar, and there'll be performances by the drag queens. So
My girlfriend loves drag queen performances. Like when we go to Vegas,
Yeah.
she's like, she leaves me in the hotel room and she goes and sees with the drag queen performances. She's all about it. So I don't know if
think
she's
it's
ever played bingo
Or been to a skate park?
or been.
See?
I definitely don't think she's been to
So,
a skate park.
it's a cool place.
That's an odd combination, those 3 things.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought too. That's why I picked it, because I'm all about trying new things.
All right, Carlos, what do you got?
Actually, this Saturday and Sunday, aside from Easter Market on a Saturday and aside from Swerve on Sunday morning, where you can do the burritos on Sundays and Easter Market with the guacamole, you can also go to the Lexus Velodrome in the afternoon. It's 12 to 6, and they're doing a giant market there. Actually, for cyclists with bike shops, and then also a bunch of other local vendors that are very, very appealing, not just for the cyclist community, but also any enthusiast in basically outdoor activities too.
That's one of those places that every time I drive by it, I'm like, I need to get over there. I have not yet.
I'm going to go to that. That hadn't come across my radar. So.
Yeah, this is
Saturday
a
and
good
Sunday.
excuse to go
Come
do that.
through, just walk it, check it out. It's also a really cool place to just look at.
Yeah, we had on the guy that built the place, and it was fascinating.
All right, you know that I am not a sports fan of
Any sort.
really. I know nothing about sports, but if you're going to go to a hockey game, the one to go to is happening Monday the 17th at Little Caesars Arena. This is Duel in the D. All right, this is Michigan versus Michigan
Sure,
State
yes.
playing hockey.
Yeah.
So if you want to check something out, they are fighting for the Iron D trophy. Michigan's won the last 3 years. We're going to see if Michigan State can take it back. And this is just one of the, like, you know, sometimes it's like the Super Bowl. Even if you're not necessarily the biggest football fan, you just go because it's a big
it's a big production.
event.
Yes.
It's an experience. That's what Duel in the D is all about. So
Great.
go check it out. Carlos Parisi, you were involved in so many different projects.
Food.
All food, all the time. But some of them are media projects. Some of them actually involve you cooking.
Yeah.
If people want to follow you personally, how can they do that?
Personally, you can follow me on Instagram at Carlos_Parisi. So that's CARLOS, just like the Santana, _ just like the thing. And then Parisi, it's Paris with an I at the end, PARISI. On there, I've got a ton of stories daily of the things that I'm doing, things that we have going on here in the city. And then my standard content is really just about not just promoting the things that I like to do, but also the things that our community, the things that we've built here together are all involved in too.
And you've got links to all your pop-ups and things
Links
like that.
to everything, for sure.
And there's something that you're going to be doing February 26th.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So Wednesday, February 26th, one of my favorite places that I've been getting a sandwich from ever since I can remember, it's actually my oldest memory, is being at Eastern Market Seafood in Eastern Market. This old school seafood spot run by the same two brothers, I believe. They're actually retiring. They're selling the business and they're done at the end of this month. Inside of that spot is a sandwich called the Old World Sandwich, which is a pita pocket full of lettuce, tomato, onion, American cheese, yellow mustard, and a variety of different sausages based on your liking. And that sandwich for $4.50 has been a favorite of mine for a long, long time. So we're going to be eating it from 2 to 4 on Wednesday the 26th. And anybody that wants to come out, come grab a sandwich and hang out.
I
kind
feel
of
like
a farewell.
I feel like you're getting a little choked up there.
Emotional.
Oh my
I
God.
know.
I mean, it's a beautiful sandwich.
Yeah.
We love it so much that we even put like caviar on it.
Wow.
Elevate it. Oh,
All
very
right.
nice.
Want to remind you that if you are a musician or you're in a band, singer, something like that, you can submit a song to us. Just go to our website, thedebriefdetroit.com. We are now closing out episodes of our podcast with songs by local artists. Becky, what do we got for today?
Yeah, well, I also want to remind listeners that I put together all the songs we played so far into a Spotify playlist. So you can go to thedmix.com and get a link right from there to Spotify and hear everything we've been playing. And I'll keep it updated regularly. Today, I want to play Josephine by Tom Butwin. This is from the album This and Hereafter. Tom gave himself a creative challenge to write a song a day for 14 days straight. And that album was the result of it. And this song, Josephine, is a bit of a love song that talks about liking your significant other just the way they are instead of like having to go through the hours of getting ready to impress you. So I kind of like that whole idea. It's called Josephine.
All right. Until tomorrow, Detroit's moving.
Keep up.
Take your time, baby, missing for me. You're looking fine, oh, just leaving be. So let's roll, city's waiting to see. Don't need no coat, that dress is killing me. Oh, you've got the look, Josephine. Josephine, won't you listen to me? Josephine, won't you listen to me? Put on those shoes, baby, and let it leave. Josephine, Josephine, won't you listen to me? It's 8:45, we're just getting on the scene. Oh, baby, it's not as early as it seems. We took our time, there's a table for two. Don't look now, everybody's looking at you. Josephine, Josephine, won't you listen to me? Josephine, won't you listen to me? Put on those shoes, baby, and let it leave. Josephine, Josephine, won't you listen to me? listen to me. Put on those shoes, baby, let's leave. Josephine, won't you listen to me? Oh no, come on. Josephine, won't you listen to me? Josephine, won't you listen to me? Put on those shoes, baby, and let's leave. Josephine, won't you listen to me?
The D Brief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.